Hello everyone, welcome back. We are T-minus 10 days on the ATF enforcement of the pistol brace rule. And I want to give you guys another idea for coming into compliance that is not permanent, right? It's a temporary compliance. And the reason why I want temporary compliance is because I am sure that we are ultimately going to win in the courts, okay? So we didn't get an injunction yet stopping the ATF enforcement of the rules. Now, if you recall with the frames and receivers, right, we did get that injunction ultimately. We did not get it by the deadline, okay? So that the frames and receivers rule went into effect, and then many months down the road, we actually got that injunction. Okay, so don't be surprised that, hey, if we don't get it in the next 10 days, we will still get it down the road, and I am fairly certain that we are ultimately going to be successful in this. So we do want to come into compliance, especially if we need to use the gun for self-defense. Okay, we want to come into some type of compliance. Don't use a gun for self-defense that is questionable. Okay, lots of the women that I train over the last 2 years, I've been recommending AR pistols to them, and the reason is because they are less front-heavy. I can't just tell them not to comply, right? I can't tell them to go fight the government. Okay, I have to give them a legal answer, and the answer that I've been giving to most women that in many cases have just one AR and then one pistol as a backup, one handgun as a backup. I've been telling them to lengthen the barrel. Okay, so we got a braced pistol lower here. I've been telling them to get a 16-inch upper. Okay, because that is one of the. I'm not going to put the pins on this right now because you guys will find out in a minute why. If you get a 16-inch upper and attach it to your pistol lower, this is now in compliance. The nice thing about this is that because I think the ATF rules, in the rules, they said that you would have to remove it and destroy it. Okay, that's what the rules said. However, they gave us the option of lengthening the barrel, which is just a matter of getting a 16-inch upper. And in that case, if you lengthen the barrel, you can keep the pistol, right? Keep the pistol brace. So that initially sounded like a much better idea. But then the ATF Director Dettelbach said before Congress that all you have to do is remove the two, right? And he actually made this motion with your hands, remove the two. And he was questioned by one of the congressmen if he was going to try and pull some type of constructive possession BS. He didn't say that he would. Now, lots of people have pointed out in prior videos I've done that the ATF lies, right? In fact, judges have. There was a judge, I think it was a judge from Southern District of Illinois, called out the ATF as a flip-flopper. Okay, so yes, ATF lies. We cannot trust anything we hear from them, or even anything that we see in writing, right? Because if we can't trust that what they're telling us verbally in front of Congress, why should we even trust what they're putting in writing? Okay, so the ATF basically is a weaponized agency, right? They have been weaponized by the Democrats, and they're basically out to get us any way they can. Okay, so a lot of people said don't trust anything they say, don't trust anything they write. Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. However, working with what we have to make some effort to protect ourselves the best. And like I said, I've got lots of women that I train, and I got to give them some type of an answer. The best answer, a couple of answers, right, that I have is, number one, get a 16-inch upper, put it on the lower. At the very least, remove the brace. Okay, remove the brace. And I'm going to give you guys a third answer that I have not given you guys before. Okay, the third answer is what you see here on the table. Okay, simply separate all of your lowers and uppers, with the exception of one or two that you would want to use for self-defense, And of course, the one that you would use for self-defense would be a 16, a rifle, an AR-15 rifle with a 16-inch barrel that is, where the legality of that is not questionable. Okay, you don't want to use a gun for self-defense where the legality of it is questionable. So the solution, aside from that, the solution that I think I like the best, given the amount of flip-flopping that the ATF has done, going back and forth between you have to remove it and destroy it, and then ATF director saying that all you have to do is remove it. The solution of simply separating your uppers and your lowers, because now you have you have incomplete guns here, right? All these guns are now incomplete. I mean, there's no way of knowing if this lower goes with this upper, or if this lower goes with that upper, or if that lower goes with that upper. There's no way to know. Basically, once the guns are disassembled, okay, because remember, the upper is not serialized, so this is not a firearm, okay? All this is just a gun part. So you could take all your uppers and say, hey, that doesn't make a difference. Doesn't matter if it's 4 inches or 16 inches or 20 inches. That's not a serialized firearm. The only thing that matters is the part with the serial number on it. And if there's no barrel on it, right? There's no way of knowing if this was going to take a 16-inch barrel, if it was going to take a 10-inch barrel. So that would seem to be a solution that kind of deals with all the potential flip-flopping that the ATF might do. All right, because and by the way, this idea I heard several years back from an FFL. And I don't know what class FFL this was, but apparently, from what I recall, they did deal with short barrel rifles, SBRs, and then there was, because remember, FFLs are subject to, just random surprise ATF inspections. Okay, so the FFL had told me that one of the ways that they deal with that, so that they don't have to worry with, whether they are in compliance or not in compliance, or do they have all their paperwork, or did the paperwork come in, is with their SBRs, right? They just separate everything, okay? And if questions, like, okay, everything is just incomplete, okay? So this is a tip that I got from an FFL many years back, before this whole pistol brace issue came up, and it was working for them with regards to the, the SBRs, right? And again, because sometimes apparently they were concerned with, did they have the paperwork? Did they have paperwork in premises? Is it up to date? All that. So they just separated all their uppers and lowers, and that's how they dealt with that possibility. And as far as I know, they're still in business. So despite surprise inspections, it seems to be working for them. Okay, so that's another possibility that we have not talked about before. Just separating your uppers and lowers. Okay, because then again, you've got, especially if you've got a 16-inch upper, you can always say, hey, I intend to put this 16-inch upper on this pistol lower. Okay, so that's the extra idea. Now, that all said, don't lose hope. I am pretty sure that we are going to win. If we don't get the injunction in the next 10 days, I am sure that we're going to get it in the coming weeks or months. And I am sure that we are ultimately going to be successful, because basically there's, per the Brewing decision, all gun control laws are presumptively unconstitutional. Okay, and that word presumption is very important. You heard it before, like the presumption of innocence. It's something that has been tested in the courts over a long period of time. So when they say that, when in the Brewing decision, when the Supreme Court said that all gun laws are presumptively unconstitutional, what that means is that they're all unconstitutional until they are able to prove in court that they are constitutional, the burden of proof being on the government. Okay, and that's going to be pretty difficult to prove that the ATF pistol brace rule is constitutional because the standard that the Supreme Court set was that a similar law has to have existed at the when the Second Amendment was ratified, or around that time period, in order for it to be constitutional. And the time period is specifically 1791 to 1836. Okay, 1836 being the date, the year that the last founding father died. It cannot be anything after that. So they can't go into this post-Civil War era when the South tried to basically the South started passing a lot of gun control laws to prevent black people from getting guns, because that's basically the root of gun control laws. They were intended to stop black people from getting guns after the Civil War. So the Supreme Court said that they cannot go into that period. They're constrained to that period around the ratification of the Second Amendment, which is 1791 to 1836. Now, other thing I'm going to tell you guys is, despite everything I told you guys, don't take my word for it, okay? I definitely recommend that you guys have a prepaid legal service. And what you would do is basically send them an email, tell them that you have an AR pistol that was braced, and the way that you're going to come into compliance is by either removing the brace per Dettelbach's testimony before Congress, or getting a 16-inch upper for it, okay? Or if you're just going to separate everything the way I said, get them to approve that for you in writing, okay? This way you have somebody, you have somebody besides me to fall back on, okay? If you have a problem. Now, the service that I use is U.S. Lawshield. Okay, the reason why I use these guys is because they're cheap. They're only $11 a month. All right, $10.95, and then with the promo code, you get like an extra month or 2 extra months depending on your state. The promo code is Pocono Shooting. So you put that into the code field when you sign up. You have to sign up either through the website or through the app. Okay, so there's your promo code. Okay, so it's only, like I said, it's only $11 a month.